Hey guys, my name is Arielle Brown. I am the founder and creator of Bayou Skincare out of New Orleans, Louisiana. We are an eczema focused and inclusive hair care company that is rooted in heritage and powered by probiotics. I have seborrheic dermatitis, which I was diagnosed with when I was about 13 years old. I know the struggle. It is one of the 7 types of eczemas, and a lot of times it's hard to explain it to people because it's not dandruff, but it's like dandruff, and it's sometimes dry, but it's really oily. It's a lot that goes into it. And I just wanted to give you an easy way to understand it and also kind of a way to weigh the solutions that might work well for you. And I'm going to do this quickly or as quickly as I can because I can talk about this for a while. So we'll talk about 3 main things: dry scalp, dandruff, and seborrheic dermatitis. So let's start with dry scalp. Simply put, dry scalp is due to the lack of moisture. Now, the lack of moisture could be for several different reasons, right? It could be not getting enough water in our bodies, not drinking enough water, right? Maybe we have excessive sun exposure, and so it can dry out our scalp. Sometimes when I have braids in my hair, I have to be really careful because I have so much of my scalp exposed to the sun. So I have to be mindful of protecting my scalp. It could be the products that we're using that's drying out our scalp. It could also be our diet and just the foods that we're eating and not, again, having enough water. So, dry scalp is a lack of moisture. So, you'll see little flakes. Dry scalp flakes are not going to be large. Typically, doesn't include burning and itching and things like that. It's just dry scalp. So, it flakes. So, that skin gets white and ashy and it flakes. Now we are going to talk about dandruff. Dandruff is actually a condition that sometimes we can't really pinpoint where it comes from. But what dandruff will be is the overgrowth of yeast on our scalp. Now, we all have a microbiome, which is the community of organisms that live in and on our body. So that's things like yeast, bacteria, um, some people say fungi, and even viruses. But there are natural microbes, right, that make up our bodies and they do things, they interact. They're not just stagnant, they're metabolizing things. And so, with the overgrowth of the yeast on the skin, it causes the overgrowth of the cells. And so we know that our skin has to exfoliate, and our skin exfoliates quite well on its own. But I notice for myself about every single month, there's a period of time where my scalp does more exfoliating than normal or more flaking than normal. But that is just normal for the process for most people. But it's usually unnoticeable. Like you're not going to really notice that combing your hair day to day, you're not going to notice it. But with dandruff, because there's yeast involved, there's also oftentimes itch involved. There's also your skin cells growing really quickly on top. And so it doesn't give enough time for the hair underneath. There's not enough time for the hair underneath to come in before the hair on top exfoliates off. And so you end up with thicker mounds of flakes on your skin and it mixes with your sebum. And so you'll get these little mounds. Sometimes you can even feel them. And it's usually where the itch is too, but you can feel them. And so you get these layers of the skin and it causes larger flakes, right? So we talked about dry scalp kind of just having little small flakes, but with this you'll have larger flakes. So that's something to note. And keep in mind with dandruff, though there may be itch, it typically is not something that won't go away. Dandruff relief products, shampoos, medications, and so forth, will typically help with that. Now, seborrheic dermatitis, on the other hand, you might notice that your typical dandruff relief products are not going to work the same. It will reoccur and reoccur and reoccur and reoccur. And you're like, okay, what's going on? I noticed when I was about 13 years old. So this is puberty time, oil, sebaceous glands, eating a lot of, just whatever as a teenager. But even into adulthood, even now, I'm mindful of what I'm putting in my body because, like I said, we might not know the reason that we get dandruff, but we can definitely do something about it. Same thing with seborrheic dermatitis. It's like dandruff, but The scales are usually more yellow in color because there's even more oil production. So those skin cells are multiplying fast, but they're not exfoliating off. And then the new cells are trying to come in, and you've got this just overgrowth going on. You've got the itching, you've got the burning. But with seborrheic dermatitis, you also have the redness. You have the hypopigmentation. So you'll notice sometimes people start losing pigment along their hairlines, their neck. It will spread. Dandruff is not just going to start spreading down your face. That's seborrheic dermatitis. It will start to spread from your scalp, your ears, around your nose, sometimes around your mouth, neck. And you'll notice oftentimes it'll get red. There'll be some red patchy areas. Like I said, the flakes are usually more yellow. That's the oil. More oil being produced. It's getting stuck in there. So there's more oil. So it's more yellow. And like I said, it's chronic. So it's painful. You might even start losing hair. That's what started happening to me. And that was really one of my triggers to say, you know what? I'm going to do something about this in my life because I can't live like this. I refuse. I wasn't able to wear my hair in the styles I wanted. I would always stay away from wearing black because I was so concerned about flakes, or if I did wear black, trust me, I was anxious about it. I may not show it, but I was anxious because I was like, checking every so often. I would have flakes out of the wazoo all over my pillowcase. And I'm like, this is embarrassing, but it's understandable. It's a condition, right? But to you, the person experiencing it, you're like, what do I do? Like the shampoos, they only work for like a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days. And then my scalp is oily again. It's flaky again. There are mounds of flakes. The flakes are fall, like what's going on? It's burning. I'm losing pigment. Like you really feel like you don't know what to do. So, um, I'm going to give you some tips on that really quickly because I didn't want to make this video too long. But those are the three main things. So dryness, just lack of moisture, small flakes, typically white, not chronic, it'll go away. Dandruff, larger flakes, itching, white flakes, but also could be a little, like a little yellow, but not as yellow as with seborrheic dermatitis, and not as large. Oh Lord, seborrheic dermatitis flakes could be large, y'all. But with dandruff, you'll have larger flakes, but you'll have the itching, but it's not going to spread. And typically, the dandruff shampoos and things like that will give you longer lasting relief. Seborrheic dermatitis, remember, is not only the overgrowth of the yeast on the skin, but it spreads. So now it's not just in a localized area, it's spreading. You're experiencing burning, you're experiencing hypopigmentation, you're experiencing large flakes, or just really stubborn, hard to get rid of flakes. Maybe washing your hair like all the time and nothing's really happening. So here are some tips. Drink a lot of water. Look into. I'm telling you to look into, which means if you need to Google it, if you need to talk to your doctor, if you need to talk to your nutritionist, look into digestive enzymes. I get mine from the vitamin shop, and look into probiotics. Now, you all know we're rooted in heritage, so we use botanicals in our products, but we also are powered by probiotics because I really am just so enamored with the body's ability to protect itself. If the environment is right, if the pH balance is right, the moisture and the oil balance is right, you're not going to experience all these different variances. If we can keep the yeast issue under control, you're not going to experience all those imbalances. And you notice I don't have the loss of my hairline anymore. I don't have the hypopigmentation. I typically will wear whatever I want to now. I'm not washing my hair every 2-3 days. I wear my braids. They show my scalp, but I make sure to moisturize, drink my water. And my way of taking probiotics every day will change just depending on what's going on. But it could be the probiotic pills, like the supplement pills. It could be powders that you put in your smoothie. I love coconut milk probiotic yogurt. So, well, I guess, yeah, because I need to say that because it's not dairy. Dairy, well, I don't know. I'm gonna look into that. But I really love to make my yogurt, put that into my smoothies. And then certain foods out there can also give you that. but I just think that has really made a difference in my life. And then the digestive enzymes have really made a difference as well, because I am in Louisiana. We love to eat. We love cheese and breads and dairies, but I take my digestive enzymes even like before having a burger. Sometimes I take it late, like at the end of the day when I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't have my enzymes and I ate like something with cheese today, or I ate something with gluten today, just to keep my body and hopefully able to protect itself and to properly digest the foods that I'm eating. And you also might want to look into seeing an allergist, because sometimes our skin is having allergic reactions and we don't realize that it's actually an allergy. It's not just something you have to deal with. No, you can do something about it. So I just hope that this helps somebody out there really understand their bodies a little bit more. We have a free downloadable guide at BayouSkincare.com. That's BEAS, BayouSkincare.com. So go check that out. And of course, if you have questions, there's a little chat box on our website. Send us a message. We're happy to help explain or give you product recommendations. We even have a really cool product recommendation quiz on our website, but it also helps you kind of learn a little bit more about yourself too. So I hope this could be helpful. Check out our guide, though. Our free guide on our website also gives you some dietary suggestions and things to stay away from, and goes into a little bit more depth on the yeast, right? The malassezia. So peace and love. I hope this has been helpful, and I just wish you all the best on your skincare journey. Peace.